Hey everybody, Jared Bruning here with the Daily Bellringer, and I'm coming to you again with another Daily Bellringer now. Of course, this is my little, I guess you could say, side project where I'm kind of trying to share some resources, some things for teachers to use in the classroom, some different ideas, and looking at different creators and things like that online that are providing resources for social studies teachers. So tonight I'm super excited because I have arguably one of the biggest names in content creation for history and for social studies. And I'm just excited that he's taken a few minutes here to talk to me tonight. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce him. Tonight I've got Mr. Beat, or otherwise known as Matt Beat, here on the Daily Bell Ringer. So thanks for joining us here tonight, Matt.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to join you.
All right. Well, Matt and I kind of emailed back and forth with him probably a couple years ago. I think I was on one of your videos about like textbooks and everything.
Yep.
The funny thing was I was actually at a teachers conference or a teacher meeting the other day with other school district, and somebody approached me and said, "Hey, didn't I see you on a Mr. Beat video?" And I was like, how in the world do you remember that? That was like from like 2 years ago or something like that. And they're like, yeah, because they're like, yeah, I saw that. And I thought I saw that teacher before. So I was like, yeah. So anyway, it was kind of crazy. But again, I think there's a lot of teachers that are following your stuff because you have just some amazing, great content that you make and everything. But I was going to say that, the big thing I wanted to bring up here is just, literally within the past day or two, you've hit 1 million subscribers, which we were just talking about. That's just unbelievable and just, well deserved for the stuff you've been creating. So I guess I was going to see, what were your emotions and how you kind of felt about all this whole thing of hitting 1 million?
Yeah, it's just weird. I honestly never expected to get 1 million subscribers, and I'm just amazed that anybody watches my stuff. You mentioning history teachers watching my stuff, that's like a little intimidating because, obviously I was a history teacher in the classroom, but I still man, I'm always worried I'm getting stuff wrong. Like the last video I made actually about Harry Truman, I had a date wrong in that video. And, by golly, I just hated that. Cause there's always something.
And the thing that stinks, I think a lot of people don't realize, it's not like we can just go back and fix that and just like the video's still there. It's like it takes a lot of work to go back and be like, okay, I'm taking that video down, I'm re-editing this, I'm redoing this, now I'm uploading it again. And it's just kind of like, man, it's like, yeah, when you make that one mistake, and I'm sure with you, with as many viewers as you've got watching, I'm sure people probably immediately jump on there. You said the wrong date on there. I've had that happen quite a few times too, but.
Yeah. It's good to have those viewers though. They keep us in line.
Yeah, exactly. So, so again, that's like I said, that's awesome that you've hit 1 million viewers, and again, I'm sure you're probably just going to keep on growing from here. And I guess how long have you been making videos on here?
Well, I started making videos, period, like when I was in J school. My first degree was journalism in the early aughts, so. That's when I first dabbled with Final Cut Pro. And so, but then later when I was a teacher, I started teaching student teaching in 2009. And I just was searching for stuff on YouTube at the time for, something to make the content a little bit more interesting for eighth graders. Mm-hmm. And all I found were student projects. You search a topic you have to teach it. For me, it was the Compromise of 1850, and it was literally all just student project videos that were really bad. No offense to those students. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own. And I made my own, and it was also really bad. But my students thought it was really cool because my brother was in it, and we were just being goofy, and my wife helped make it as well, and we were just having fun. I made a jingle. To help the kids remember something that's pretty boring, it's not like they're excited to learn about the Compromise of 1850. And then from there, I didn't even publish it to anyone else other than my own students. They were the only ones who saw it. And then 2 years later, 2011, is when I was like, maybe I should start publishing this, to the, other people that maybe want to find it. And that's when I noticed that other teachers were finding my stuff and starting to my videos for their students. And then that was, so, I mean, from there, I mean, 2011, though, that was, yeah, 13 years ago. And so this has been a long time coming. I will say that of those million subscribers, many of them are not American. I have a lot of viewers that are, in the UK, Australia, India. I have a lot of viewers in India for some reason. So it's kind of amazing, like how many are watching, learning about American history, because that's my focus usually is American political history. And they're really into it outside of the United States. That just blows my mind.
Well, yeah, I've always thought, some of the stuff like that we create is good things. Like if someone came to America and is like wanting to get citizenship and just wanting to learn general American history, it's like a lot of the stuff we like you offer, especially. I mean, like it gives a lot of great detail into these events that are the basic things they need to know. So that's awesome. I was going to say it's kind of interesting to me the way you said how you started making your videos. Again, not that I've even approached close to what you've accomplished on here, but the way I kind of started my stuff was that I had another teacher I work with who was an English teacher for 20 years. And then one day they said, no, you're teaching history next year. And she was absolutely distraught and just like crying. And I was like, well, what can I do to help her out? And I thought, what if I made like some little short video clips to give her to like start out the class to get it going?
Oh, wow.
And so I started making them for her. And then it was my wife that was the one that was smart enough to say, why don't you put some on YouTube and just see if anybody else might want to use them too? And then, again, kind of like what you said, it's like you kind of found that there are other teachers that are looking for material like this. And so I feel like both of us kind of started this out as a way to try to help people, and everything. And hopefully we're helping people learn more about history and everything. So that's kind of our ultimate goal. So I guess speaking about learning and everything, like what is your background in education? I know you were talking about how, you student taught back 2009, teaching a bunch of 8th graders and everything. So like what is kind of your background and everything in education?
Yeah, like I said, my first degree was journalism. When I was in high school, my mom actually tried to convince me to become a social studies teacher back then. And I said, Mom, I hate high school. Why would I want to like come back here and teach? But she was right all along, because I did go back to school and got a degree in education. This is when I was living in Omaha, Nebraska. And so that's where I started teaching, and I did love it. It's like, I mean, I was in the classroom for 12 years. I taught everything from economics to government to American history and beyond, world history. And yeah, from 7th grade to 12th grade. I think I liked, like in the early years, it was mostly middle school. That's what I taught 7th grade for 4 years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like high school there towards the end, it's like, okay, because they have a lot of energy, those middle schoolers. But yeah, like that's my pretty much, because I always tell people I don't specialize in history. I specialize in communication of history. I am not an expert at, like, I don't even think I'm an expert when it comes to American presidential history, even though that's kind of what I'm known as on YouTube. It's like I cover American presidential stuff all the time, but I don't even think, like, I mean, there's a lot I don't know. So, but what I do try to get, down is how I can take stuff that's typically either A, boring, or B, complicated, and make it digestible like you. You do the very similar thing to a broader audience. And when you're trying to teach 7th graders, you might as well have a broader audience. I mean, my journalism degree really helped a lot. Plus, like, you and I are both musicians, being on stage for many years in a band, that also helped. Like, just being able to, like, keep an audience that's hostile engaged. And so that's always translated well for the videos as well.
Isn't that what we do every day as teachers in the classroom? We're keeping a hostile audience engaged. I mean,
some of the best teachers I know I like have stage experience either as a stand-up comedian or musician, because you're dealing with like a crazy, sometimes intoxicated audience.
Now I can't think of the name of the book, but I know there's a book that's called like 170 shows a year or something like that, and that's basically what it is. We as teachers, it's kind of like you have to get up and give that show. And I was going to say that brings me to like your videos. I think you do such a great job of what I would call like edutainment. that it's like you bring enough like funny into the video. My videos, I don't do that as much, but yours, I feel like you do a good job of mixing the information with a little bit of humor and everything in there. And I don't know, I think that really captivates kids and everything, kind of seeing some of that stuff. So again, I think you do a great job with all of that and everything. So I got another big question here for you, and this is one. Well, I guess first off, thinking about a question here for you. You said you taught 7th through 12th. Which did you prefer? Did you prefer the younger grades, or did you prefer doing the older grades? Because I know me as a middle school teacher, sometimes I think to myself, oh gosh, I wish I could just have a class of a bunch of juniors and seniors that are, calmed down and not as, all over the place. But, I don't know. Since you're somebody who's had experience doing both, what do you think? What was your opinion?
I think yeah, it was probably 9th through 11th because, the seniors had senioritis and so they were ready to go. But yeah, like I think at a certain point you wanted them to be able to have much higher conversation, like higher level conversations. I did a lot of class discussion of things through, just trying to tap into getting them to kind of question their own values and like, really think deeply about why we know what we know, why we believe what we believe, because, that's underlying all of history is like we're kind of trying to learn these lessons, and it kind of form our own identities. And a lot of kids don't think about why do I have all these thoughts? Usually it's just whatever their parents or people around
exactly,
them.
Yeah, that's usually what you hear. Yeah, I guess, if high school, you probably get a little bit more of those critical thinking skills that have developed a little bit more. So, yeah, you can have those conversations. I was going to say with junior high kids, though, sometimes it's nice because you can kind of get away with some of those more elementary lessons that it's like, hey, let's get up and make a big poster of something or, something like that.
They're not as jaded.
Exactly.
They're not as
they'll get excited about doing goofy stuff and everything sometimes. So yeah.
I don't know. I would still bust out my guitar and do weird, wacky stuff when teaching high schoolers. Like, I think they secretly admire that stuff. They would, they still play it cool. But.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wait, again, I got another big question here. And again, this is one that I don't know if we can necessarily nail this down or not, but like, what do you feel has been some of the biggest changes in education since the introduction of the internet and basically like online videos and like digital learning, I guess you could say, like the digital age that we're in right now? I guess, what do you feel has like been some of the biggest changes that we've had?
Yeah, I mean, when I started teaching, already there were. I was at an advanced district where every student got their own laptop, and so I kind of like most of the time I taught, students had access where we could do, if we wanted to, we could do flipped learning, like, but a lot of times there were obstacles to that. So, but I think overall, like. What I noticed with some of my peers, my colleagues, is that a lot of them struggled with making it more student-centered. It was a lot of just, sit and get still when I was like, and so like I think that was something they resisted because we as educators like to tell stories, and I feel like you kind of give that away, like, but they learn better a lot of times if they're kind of learning at their own pace. And I think that's been the biggest change with, one website that I relied on heavily, and I would play my own videos. I didn't even care. I forced my own students to watch my own videos, but others as well.
I've been there, done that. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure you have. Yeah, you can relate to that. But yeah, like, have you used EdPuzzle before?
Oh yeah. I was. Yeah. I was kind of one of the early adopters of EdPuzzle and kind of got grandfathered in to like have like a free account like for life and everything. So yeah, EdPuzzle is an amazing. It still amazes me how many teachers I encounter that have no idea what EdPuzzle is, and it's like how can you not know what this is? This is probably the greatest single piece of technology you can use in your classroom for using videos. So
yeah, because you're also.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like. You're getting formative assessment, like just the best form of it if you have the right questions, and exactly what they need to know, and where you can see like their progress as in real time, and you can also do it as a class as well. So that also leads to discussion. And so yeah, like it was just such a good tool, and you wouldn't have that before. I mean, I just feel also that I mean, there's a whole nother challenge with AI. I left the classroom before artificial intelligence really was starting to take off. So actually, that might be a question for you. I would have. I know this is supposed to be a one-way conversation.
Well, actually, my last Daily Bellringer now, I spoke with an author named Carl Hooker, who has written a bunch of books about AI in the classroom, and he had a lot of great ideas about different ways you can use AI in the classroom and just how. Basically you can have kids create all of these like kind of what if scenarios in history using AI. And it was really cool kind of to think about and everything. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things I don't necessarily, I know about it. I know what it is, but I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to use it necessarily. And I don't know how it's going to affect me in the classroom. I know every teacher seems to be scared to death of Chat GPT, but it's a tool that people are going to use whether or not you like it or not. So we kind of have to adjust.
Well,
to
then
it.
how do you test your kids though? Like, do you have to just go back to pencil and paper?
I think a lot of teachers are doing that. It's kind of like they're going back to those
Yeah.
old-fashioned ways. But I think one thing is with like this AI is that I think some people don't realize how it can actually you can take your own thoughts and it can kind of help expand upon them some. Like for instance, I'm thinking from a teacher perspective. There's been a few times where I've been emailing a parent. And I'm like, I don't really like the way that's worded. And so I kind of put it into an AI, and it kind of gave me some, like, it spit something out at me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like that part. That sounds a whole lot better than what I had to say. And so like I put that in, and it kind of, it helped to flesh out kind of what I was trying to say, So I mean, it's I don't know. It's one of those things. Yes, I'm sure people hate it, but I think there's a lot of great uses for it as well. So yeah, but. Yeah, I mean, education has definitely changed. I was going to make one point here as far as, changes that we've had since moving into the digital age of education. Just look at what we're doing right now. We're collaborating from hundreds of miles away from each other, collaborating. And like the way now we can collaborate with other educators and, be able to communicate with other classrooms and stuff. I mean, that's something that, when I was going to school, I never would have dreamed of that this would even be possible. So I don't know. I mean, it's pretty amazing time that we're living in to see all these things beginning to happen or happening in education. So, but
the other thing I'm really excited about is the virtual field trips with the headsets.
Oh,
like, have you seen
like the Google Cardboard stuff and everything? Is that?
I mean, well, no. Now the Apple Pro is even more advanced. Like, it looks like you're walking on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
They've mapped out but you can do that with historical events now. They're actually new applications where they're starting to do that. To me, that's incredibly exciting. To make it truly immersive for the student.
Yeah, completely surround yourself. I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of I've done a few projects in my classroom where I've had students create augmented reality, and it's kind of sad. There's not really
Nice.
a lot of great augmented reality apps that I can find. There's just a couple of them that actually work. But yeah, I've had students like create displays where if they hold their phone up, then all the information pops out at them and everything. So yeah, there's all kinds of cool things we can do with this and and everything. But I guess I'm curious again, since I feel like you're an expert in educational videos, since that's what you do. Like when you were an educator in the classroom, what did you look for in an educational video? Like, was there certain criteria that you were like, I'm not going to show this in the class unless it does this, this, and this, or anything like that? Like, what were you looking for?
It has to be engaging. So looking at the students, if their heads are on their desks, then that's a bad sign. And I watched that for my own videos too. I would take notes like, oh, this is the part where they zone out of my own video. And I would actually, the next video I made, I was like, I'll make sure I don't do that. Or that's actually when I learned that pretty much every minute you got to do something to kind of refocus the viewer. So whether that be a really bad joke, like a dad joke, which I say a lot, or a little jingle, or a video clip that's not my voice, or a meme, or just something different that kind of jumps them out of the story to kind of oh yeah, and then the story itself. I mean, using active voice. So this goes for all videos. I think one of the masters at edutainment is Michael Stevens, who's also from Kansas. Actually, he used to go to high school at a high school that I taught at. He wasn't there at the same time. He had already graduated, but he is has a channel called Vsauce, which is I think second or third largest educational channel on YouTube. It has like 25 million subscribers. So I kind of have always looked at him like, wow, how does he trick people into learning? That's always what he does. And what he essentially does is like he sneaks. It's always really sneaky, like what he's actually teaching. And then whenever there is something that's kind of a new term that the viewer is not aware of, he puts it nice and big on the screen. That's another thing that's really changed is like, they say that kids don't read anymore. Bull crap. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they read because like they are reading when they're watching videos.
Yeah.
Most people these days, actually, there's research that shows that they have the subtitles on. I have text on my videos all the time. I know you have text on the screen sometimes in your videos. And this is incredibly, like they've done studies on this. You are more likely to remember a new word if you see it on the screen, especially multiple times, especially if you hear it, and then like immediately after you hear it, you see it on the screen. And so little things like that, I mean, it goes really far in terms of, so yeah, when I look for I mean, if it's entertaining, but also you can tell that like they're actually recalling the information.
Yeah, and I think there's little things you especially do in your videos that is really great, just like animations. I mean, I realize, some people overlook that and they don't think about like, how's that text coming into the shot or how is this picture moving? And
yes, movement.
Exactly,
on the
movement
screen,
on the screen.
And every few seconds, something has to be moving.
Exactly,
yes.
exactly. And I think a lot of people overlook that, and they don't even think about, like for instance, I mean, I'm sure you were probably the same way. When I first started making my videos, some of my first videos, I'm just sitting there in front of a camera and there's nothing happening, and I tried to watch it, and I'm like, this is awful. This is just terrible. So, then it's like, yeah, you got to have stuff moving, and I think we just subconsciously don't think about that we as human beings have to have something moving on the screen constantly. So I suppose somehow in this interview I have to find ways to have something move on here so that way we can keep people's attention while we're sitting here, because nobody wants to sit and listen to two nerds just talk about online history videos. So, but anyway, I guess back when you were in the classroom, you said, you had your students watch your own videos from time to time. I guess how would you implement those videos into your class? What were some of the strategies or I guess occasions that you would use them? I mean, was it just pretty much like the typical within presentations, or was there other things that you had the ways that you used videos in the classroom?
I preferred to have my students watch my videos when I was gone, like if a substitute was there. However, if I played one of my videos in front of them, it tended to be the more fun ones, where I was singing like a parody song or something, or it was just something goofier. Where if it was more informational, then I would be like, okay, maybe I'll just show part of it. They're already sick of me, but that's the weird thing is like when they see you in person, you might as well just like do a lot of that stuff in person. But if it was something I couldn't recreate in the classroom, then yeah, I typically would put it up there. And the thing is, I did play a lot of videos from other creators as well. But a lot of times I just said, here are a bunch of videos that you can watch on your own time. Because, yeah, again, they all had laptops. Most of the schools I taught at. So I was like, here's a list of extra resources for you to dive deeper.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's a great idea. If you just put together your own playlist and just share those with the students and say, all right, when you're getting ready to study for the test, you go back and watch a few of these videos. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, especially AP. Yeah. When I taught APUSH. And then in the classroom, though, you want it to be interactive. They're there for each other. They're there to be interacting with each other. And so you want activities where, it's going to be more meaningful where they're interacting. So I did a lot of projects and I did a lot of simulations. Simulations are very effective. Like anytime I actually just had them sit a full class and watch a video, I felt a little dirty and guilty. I was like, and it's weird to say because I'm the video guy. I'm the guy who makes the videos. But yeah, it's you just can't do that every class. I mean, I think that's lazy teaching, frankly.
Yeah. I know we're kind of sharing teaching horror stories here, but I used to work with a teacher that every time I walked by that room, man, they were watching some movie. And a lot of times there were movies that I was like, okay, you're studying ancient Greece and you got sixth graders and you're watching 300. It's like, okay, it's like, and I'm like, what? How are you doing? How are you getting away with that? But yeah, so sometimes I feel dirty too about it sometimes, but sometimes I think back to some other teachers I worked with and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not that bad at least. But yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's like they're in the classroom to interact. We should be finding ways for them to be interacting with us, not just simply looking at us on a screen and everything. But at the same time, I think you brought this up before about how students are reading on videos now. I mean, the age we're in, everybody learns from videos. I mean, for me personally, anytime I need to do something here at home, I'm immediately like, well, does YouTube have a how-to video, how to do this? Because I'm not going to go read a whole article about it. I can more efficiently just watch a 2-minute video and know how to change my oil in my car, or whatever. So I guess, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, we want them interacting with each other, but also we got to recognize this is kind of their learning style now. A lot of it is video or video based. So another question here for you, since again, I know that you have tons and tons of viewers and over the years, you've just had, millions and millions of views. Have you ever heard of any unique ways that teachers are like using your content, or, have you heard of like unique ways that students are like watching your videos or doing things with your videos or anything like that?
Well, I've had students email me, like their teachers told them to email me to like request certain topics, like especially for government class, Supreme Court briefs videos. I had one time a student actually sent me basically like most of a script, like, you should do, because I researched this Supreme Court case, so yeah, I might as well give it to you. You can take it or leave it. So that was pretty cool. I just ran into somebody the other day who said that my Supreme Court briefs videos got her through law school.
Really?
And I'm just that blows my mind. I'm just like, really? Okay. But yeah, like I think the problem though nowadays, well, not problem because I have fun, but a lot of my stuff doesn't fit neatly into curriculums anymore like it used to, and so. Usually it is just the Supreme Court briefs or my presidential election series that, which is kind of it's usually the AP kids, like it's A Push or AP Gov, that reach out to me.
Well, maybe now you might get a flood of scripts now from people saying, you got to do this script. I wrote this for you and everything. So
makes my job
easier.
Yeah,
that would make your job a lot easier. So I guess, again, you were just saying, you have people requesting certain types of videos, requesting some, certain content. Like, how do you usually go about like choosing what you're going to do for your content?
Yeah, well, I do, for the Supreme Court videos, I do kind of have a list of priorities, especially if it's something I know they're going to learn and they need to learn in the classroom. Like all of the AP Gov required cases I've already covered, but or if it's something relevant to the news cycle, whatever. Like there's a case I wanted to cover that's about banning books, and that's been in the news off and on the last year or so, and but I do kind of listen more to my people that donate money to my channel. I try to like, okay, yeah, I probably should listen to them a bit more. I get lots of requests. But at the end of the day, if it's not something I'm passionate about, I will not make it. So I have a list of over 1,000 video ideas. I will never run out of ideas.
But that's the great thing, honestly, with like history and social studies. It's never
Yes.
It's never ending. There's always something more that you can cover, some other detail you can cover about everything. Now, I guess I got a quick question. Have you ever like stayed up all night long because there was some big news story that just broke, and you're like, oh man, I got to get a video out about this? Have you ever done that before?
No, but I did stay up late to complete a video that was about something that happened 170 years ago.
I know for me personally, a couple of years ago on January 6th, when that happened, I was like, "Oh, I got to put a video about like violence at the Capitol, like what were
Oh yeah.
other violent events." And so yeah, like I remember my wife was mad at me because it was like 3 a.m. before I came back upstairs because I was like, I got to put this together." So yeah, but
I was teaching government on January 6th. It was so surreal. I was like, because we were kind of tuning in, and at the same time, I was teaching them about the, like, literally what Congress does. It was so trippy. I'll never forget that day.
yeah, that was definitely a strange day, just one that we'll never forget. So yeah, so I guess speaking again of your content, your videos you've made and everything, is there one video that you feel like, hey, this is my best video I've ever made? One that is your favorite video, one that you could go back and watch at any time and be like, wow, look at what I did.
Yeah, I mean, the last video I just released, I'm pretty proud of, about Harry Truman, because I got to go to the Presidential Library Museum, and I kind of got like, they took me around like a personal tour, and I got to interview everybody there, and then I also went on location to a bunch of other spots, like where Truman used to live, and it's not too far from where I live, so it was not too difficult to do that. But yeah. And then my wife helps out with drone footage now, and so she gets a lot of good aerial stuff. Shout out to Mrs. Beat. But yeah, but other than that video, I always tell everyone my Oregon Trail video, which is an hour and 45 minutes. It's basically a movie. And it didn't do very well, but essentially the premise is when I say we, I mean my entire family. We rented a Tesla a couple of years ago, and we drove the Oregon Trail Auto route, which you can still do from Starson Independence. Just so happens to be the hometown of Harry Truman. And it starts in Independence, Missouri, and ends in near Portland, Oregon. And basically, the gimmick was, it's an adventure because in an EV, you might not find a charging station. And there were a couple times in western Nebraska and Wyoming also where we were in the middle of nowhere and we had to go way off the trail to find a charging station. And yeah, it was a little rough.
But still, it's a great memory with your family and everything, getting to make that and all that stuff. So yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
no, they hated it at the time, but I think they'll be nostalgic for it, so it's all good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll have to check. I know I saw when you posted that one. Yeah, because you said it's like what, like an hour and a half long or whatever of you heading out west and everything.
Yeah.
I need to go back and I'm pretty sure I remember when you posted that. I need to go back and check that one out. So I guess, do you have any other last tips here, suggestions, anything else you'd like to suggest to history teachers or social studies teachers, whatever, like your last words of wisdom here?
We're all watching videos, and it's not that hard to make videos. So, if I encourage history teachers to do what I do, I know you don't have a whole lot of free time, but I just didn't sleep for like 6 years. That's how I did it. And, but I mean, you really, even if you're like, if you visit a cool historical spot, get your phone out, start talking about it, and post it on TikTok. You'd be surprised who's going to watch that. I mean, it's so there are so many people that comment under my videos that say, I did not like history, when I was a kid, when I was forced to take it as a class in school, but now I love it. And then part of the reason why I love it is because of your videos. And so our goal is to teach as many people as possible, really, history. So don't just limit yourself to your actual students.
I guess I think back, I'm a little bit older, but, I don't know if your experience was the same as mine. It seemed like history class when I was a kid was just like the popcorn reading. It's like, here's the textbook. Somebody read this paragraph. Now you go read the next one. Answer the questions. That was every day in class. And now, now we have this, these online videos, all kinds of technological tools we can use. We got, Google Earth and maps and virtual field trips and all these different things we can do as teachers and use as teachers. So I get frustrated when I see teachers still doing the popcorn method, that I'm just like, yeah, there is value to reading and getting reading comprehension skills, but it's like there's so many more things we can do now with it that you really should be trying this stuff. And one of the things you should be trying is checking out Mr. Beat and seeing all of his stuff, because you got a lot of great content out there for teachers to use. So I guess I wanted to say thanks for joining me here tonight. Hopefully I didn't take up too much of your time or keep you up too late here and everything. But hopefully, I guess you have a good rest of the school year. Have you got any big plans for the summer or anything? Any big field trips you're going to take and film on location?
Well, we already kind of did. So I'm going to Montana for some event. Maybe I'll do Battle of Little Bighorn while I'm up there. But yeah, we went to Pittsburgh and went to the Mason-Dixon line just south of there, and also did a video on Andrew Carnegie / Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that in March actually, but I've been trying to do that more, go on location. So
yeah, it's always fun. I'll give you one big tip. I was at Little Bighorn last year and a half ago. When you walk out into the field, make sure you look for the signs that say "Watch out for rattlesnakes." Because I went out there and I didn't even see the signs, and I'm out here filming a video. And then I come back to the car, and my wife's like, "Did you see that sign that said there's rattlesnakes in this area?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't see that sign." So sometimes it gets dangerous when you're out there doing those ones on location. So I guess be sure you're looking for the signs out there at Little Bighorn.
Okay, and also when I do finally make my Lincoln video, I would like for you to help me make that if possible. I'm saying it on the air here so that I hold myself accountable for reaching out to you again.
Give me a call. I'm about 2 hours from Springfield, but I go down there quite a bit. Actually, I'm taking some students down there this next week and everything. So I'm down there quite a bit. If you need somebody to give you a little bit of a tour, like through the Lincoln House, again, my students always get a kick out of it when we go on tours with my students. I'm always like, they left this part out. They left this part out. They left this, because I've been on the tour so many times that I'm like, here's the little detail they didn't tell you. So.
Oh, you're that guy.
I guess I'm that guy. So.
I'm that guy too.
Yeah. So,
right.
All right. Well, again, thanks a lot, Matt, for joining me here tonight. And again, be sure you check out. I'll put links to his channel and everything here in the video description. So again, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you later. All right. Thanks.